Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all my dear students. This is your lecture number 15 of chapter homeostasis. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the following topics: blood circulation to nephron, urine formation, and the mechanism of urine concentration. It will cover the contents from your textbook from page number 30 to page number 33. And students, after completing this lesson, you will be able to explain the process of glomerular filtration, selective reabsorption, and tubular secretion as the main event in kidney functioning. And you will be also able to explain the concentration of urine, which will be regulated by counter current and hormonal mechanism. Review of the previous lecture. In the last lecture, we had covered the relationship between excretory product with their habitat, that is ammonia, urea and uric acid. Blood circulation to nephron. So students, first of all we should know how does blood flow through your kidneys. Basically, blood flow into your kidney through the renal artery. This large blood vessel branches into smaller and smaller blood vessels until the blood reaches the nephron. Then in the nephron, your blood is filtered by tiny blood vessels of the glomerulus and then flows out of your kidney through the renal vein. It is shown in the left diagram. In the right diagram, we have the structure of nephron. What is nephron? Basically, each of your kidney is made up of about a million filtering units called nephron. Each nephron include a filter called glomerulus and a tube-like structure called tubule. The nephron works through a two-step process. The glomerulus filters your blood and the tubule return needed substance to your blood and remove wastage. Okay, this is the pathway of blood flow into each nephron. Basically, the renal artery within the kidney give rise the smaller branches called interlobular arteries, which supply blood to the afferent arterioles. From afferent arterioles, the blood enter into the glomerulus of corpuscles. Basically, glomerulus of corpuscles contain a glomerular capillaries. From the glomerular capillaries, it will enter into the efferent arterioles. From the efferent arterioles, the blood supply to the peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries is basically the plexus of capillaries. Basically, the peritubular capillaries present around the proximal and distal tubules. From peritubular capillaries, the blood supply to the vasa recta. Vasa recta is basically the specialized part of peritubular capillaries, which is present around the loop of Henle. Then, from vasa recta, the blood drain into interlobular veins. From interlobular veins, the blood supply to the arcuate vein. Arcuate vein is also known as renal vein. Then the renal vein exits the kidney. Okay, now urine formation. Basically, the formation of urine involves three basic steps. Number 1, glomerular filtration. Number 2, selective reabsorption. And number 3, tubular secretion. As the diagram shows, the glomerular filtration takes place in the renal corpuscles of glomerular capsule. Tubular secretion or selective reabsorption take place in the proximal convoluted tubule of nephron, and tubular secretion take place in the distal convoluted tubule of nephron. So students, one by one we will discuss. First is glomerular filtration. Glomerular filtration is basically the first step in making urine. It is a process that your kidney use to filter excess fluid and waste product out of the blood into urine collecting tubules of the kidney, so they may be eliminated from your body. It is basically a non-selective passive process, and the blood pressure relatively high in glomerulus than the other parts of the nephron. Glomerular filtration is also known as pressure filtration or ultrafiltration, and you can see in the diagram it will take place in the renal corpuscles under the blood pressure, under the particular blood pressure. Pressure comes from the blood, that is called hydrostatic pressure. So the question is how the hydrostatic pressure is generated. Basically, student, remember one thing: the diameter of efferent arteriole is half as compared to the diameter of afferent arterioles. That's mean the efferent arterioles have less diameter than afferent arterioles. That's why the blood entered the narrow capillaries. As a result, the pressure is generated. So due to such a high pressure, water and small solute molecules are filtered out to the glomerular capillaries. And in the glomerular capsule, the filtration of larger molecules like proteins, red blood cell and platelets are left behind the blood. That's why this filtration, because of this filtration, it is called glomerulus filtrate. So by this process, second step is selective reabsorption, because they only absorb or sustain certain substances. That's why they are called selective reabsorption. Certain substances include glucose, amino acid, vitamin, inorganic salts and some water. Because of this selective reabsorption, the process is also called selective reabsorption. It is also called tubular reabsorption. Why it's called tubular reabsorption? Because it takes place in the proximal convoluted tubule. As a result of tubular reabsorption, all the certain substances enter into our capillary blood, and from capillary blood it will distribute it into our whole body. And students, remember one thing: most of the reabsorption occur in the proximal convoluted tubule. Most of the reabsorption is active, but some reabsorption is passive as well. And when all the molecules of water, glucose, amino acids and needed ions are transported out of the filtrate into the tubule cells and then enter the capillary blood. The last step is the tubular secretion. What do you mean by tubular secretion? It is basically the transfer of material from peritubular capillaries to the renal tubular lumen. It is basically the opposite process of the reabsorption. The secretion is caused mainly by active transport and passive diffusion. The main purpose of tubular secretion is to maintain the pH of the urine, and we all know the pH of the urine is range between 4.8 to 7.5. Tubular secretion is basically occur in a distal convoluted tubules, and it is basically secretes some certain substances like ammonia, hydrogen ions, water, etc. And the material left in the renal tubule move toward the. Now the mechanism of urine concentration. Basically students, we all know that the kidneys are able to separate the reabsorption of water and solutes in the loop of Henle. This means urine can be made more concentrated or hypertonic, or more dilute, that is hypotonic, than plasma, depending on how hydrated we are. So let's suppose students, we have a hypertonic urine. This hypertonic urine is achieved by counter current multiplier mechanism. So that's mean the counter current multiplier is used to concentrate the urine into our kidney by the help of nephron. So basically by the help of counter current multiplier mechanism, the water present in the loop of Henle is moving toward the capillaries of vasa recta. So that's mean students, with the help of counter current mechanism, the concentrated urine is formed in the kidney. Now question is, what is vasa recta? Basically vasa recta is a capillaries, long shaped blood vessels that run parallel to the loop of Henle. It is a network of blood capillaries that absorb 99.5% water from the loop of Henle. So it can be controlled by two hormones. The first one aldosterone and the second one ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Aldosterone is basically an adrenal cortical hormone. The main purpose of the aldosterone is to increase the absorption of sodium chloride in the nephron. While as a result of increase the absorption of sodium chloride, it's tend to increase the concentration of water in the filtrate while decreasing the concentration of salt, that is sodium chloride, in the nephron. The other hormone is ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, which is secreted from the pituitary gland, the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. So when if our body have a large amount of water, so the pituitary gland secrete ADH, which tend to increase the absorption of water in the nephron. So that's mean if our body need a water, ADH will be secrete, and if this will causes increase in the concentration of water, as a result the hypotonic urine is formed. So students, this is the whole mechanism of the urine concentration, which can be controlled by counter current multiplier mechanism or by two hormones, aldosterone. Okay students, so today we had covered the blood circulation to nephron, urine formation, and the mechanism of urine concentration in the kidney. Dear students, you have to do the assignments as well. It have three questions. Number one, describe glomerular filtration. Number two, what do you mean by counter current multiplier mechanism? And number three, how reabsorption is a selective process. That's all about for today lecture. Thank you, and students, in the next lesson we will discuss the urinary tract infection, disorders of urinary tract, kidney stone, and kidney failure.